Hello everybody, welcome back to Cooking with Grandma, and I'm going to continue our cookie theme today. I'm going to be making some cookies. They're called elephant ears. I haven't made these in a really long time, and they're just a nice cookie to make. I'm going to show you this book. I ordered this from the Gold Medal Flour people when my kids were little. It's Alphabet Bakery cookbook, and each page, like A is for apple crisp, B is for banana bread, C is for chocolate chip cookies, D is for drumsticks, E is for elephant ears, fudge. It's, you know, you continue on the whole alphabet and get some cute recipes for your kids. But these are going to be to go with the triple chocolate chip cookies that I made in my last video. I'm going to send these off to my boys in Mississauga. So now the recipe makes 4 elephant ears. These are all like geared, you know, you just make small amounts. So I'm going to actually quadruple the recipe so I can get more than 4. So, you know, there's a lot of us. So the first thing you want is, it calls for 1/4 cup of margarine or butter, and then you melt that and set it aside. Well, I made 1 cup. I melted 1 cup, so you set that aside. And then it's 1 cup of flour. Well, I need 4 cups. I will write the recipe in the description as it's written, but just in the recipe I'm doing, I'm making, you know, writing it up. So when your kids say, "Mom, I don't need math, I don't have to learn," now they'll know that, because especially fractions, so 1/4 cup, you have to know how many is, you know, to double it or triple it or whatever you want to do. So now you'll know. They'll have to know math. So there's my I need 4 cups of flour. That's right. Because 1 cup of flour makes 4 ears. 2 cups of flour will make 8. 3 cups will make 16, or 12, sorry. And 4 will make 16. So I'm going to shoot for 16 and see how far that gets me. Alright, so there's 4 cups of flour. And actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch that out to my bigger mixing bowl, just so I have a lot of room, because this is going to make like a dough that you have to roll out. So we're going to dump that out of there into my big bowl. So to that, it's 2 tablespoons of sugar, but I need 8 tablespoons of sugar. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I haven't made these in a really long time. I was trying to find something else to make for my boys, and looking through my books, I thought, oh, I don't think I've made these for them before, or if I have, it's been a long time. Okay, to the sugar we need 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder. So we need 1/2 and 1, so 2 teaspoons of baking powder. That's for 4, that's for 8, that's for 12, that's for 16. You can always count it that way, like to make sure you're getting the right amount of ingredients. And then we need 1/2 teaspoon of salt, so I need a teaspoon of salt. No, 2 teaspoons. 1/2 for 4, 1/2 for 8, 1/2 for 12, 1/2 for 16. Yeah, 2 teaspoons. Okay. Now we stir together the flour, the sugar, the baking powder, and salt into a medium bowl. So flour, sugar, baking powder, and salt. Mix it all in. There we go. And now we're going to stir in milk and 3 tablespoons of the melted margarine. So we're going to, the milk is 1/3 cup. So that's 1/3 for 1 recipe, 1/3 for 2, 1/3 for 3, and so basically that was 1 1/3 cups, because 3/3 is a cup, and then 1/3 cup more. Okay, and then 3 tablespoons of the melted butter. Now I've got like 1/4 of a cup. Doesn't make that much. I mean, I've got a whole cup of melted butter, so I'm going to do again 9 tablespoons because I'm doing it for, that would be for 1, 2, 3, and 4. And quadrupling. So you have extra butter left over. That's for later on in the recipe. Okay, so let's see. Stir in the milk and you margarine until a dough forms. This is not a very sweet cookie. It's got that little bit of sugar in the dough, and then in the filling, kind of filling sort of thing, it's got a little bit of cinnamon sugar. So it's not really a very sweet cookie. Just a little bit, just enough to give you that little hint of sugar. Okay, now this is looking a little bit dry, so I may have to add just a little bit more the milk and the butter, because it's very, yeah, it's very crumbly and very dry. It's not going to be able to mix to roll up. So I'm going to add some more of my butter, because I do have quite a bit of butter left. I might not have calculated that properly, because the rest of the butter, all you need it for is to brush onto the pastry when it's done. So I'm going to use all but just a little bit, enough, and I'm going to add a little bit more milk. Sometimes when you're calculating, you know, it's just you can always fix it. It's pretty easy. I mean, if this was too wet, I would just add more flour. It's too dry, so you add more liquid. You mix it all good, and then you're going to put this, put on your board, and you're going to knead it for 10 times, it says. So let's see. It's still quite crumbly and messy, but once I get it mixing, it'll be all right. Yeah, it's sticking together perfectly now. So I'm just going to keep mixing it. Sometimes it's easier with a dough like this just to go ahead and dump it out when it's not fully mixed, and then you can get right in there and you can feel that it's mixed this way. There we go. Okay. There. So we want to, I'm not going to start counting the kneading process until I get all the flour and everything incorporated together. Then I'll start. Okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and as you knead, it gets mixed up even better. 7, 8, 9, and 10. Okay, I always give it a couple extra just to make sure it's all. So what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to cut a chunk of it off and just do a little at a time because it's going to be too big to roll. So what you do is you roll it out into a rectangle that's 9 by 5. So I'm going to put a little bit of flour down. Get my rolling pin. And just give this a little start. Just give it a little push down with your hands. And you want to roll it into a 9 by 5 rectangle. I'll get it rolled out pretty much thing, and then I've got a tape measure that I keep for just this kind of thing for baking. One in my sewing box and one in my cooking box. So, in my cooking drawer. There we go. And it rolls pretty easy. Now this is a little bit stiff, but it's getting, you know, it's doing all right. Let's put a little muscle into it. You know, that little. If it gets breaks like that, just pat it together and then continue rolling. A little crack there, just push it back together. Okay. And there it goes. Now it's going nice. Now this is not looking very much like a rectangle by any means, but you can trim it to cut it to make it look like that. So I'm going to get my tape measure. I'm going to see how close I am. So at the widest part it's 11. That's too big, so I got to scooch it together. Yeah, I made it a little bit. That's, you know, when you, actually it's not that it's too big, it's just that it's extra dough. Like the amount of dough that you would have made just in the original recipe, that would have been a 9 by 5. So this will be a little bit bigger. I didn't think that part of it through when I made, but that's all right, because you know, you can always, easy to fix things. So, okay, so I'm just going to trim this off. This is what you can just re-roll that for later, just so it's in a rectangle form. There we go. Okay, so that's about a rectangle. Just going to give it a little bit, now that it's actually the right shape, just going to give it a little bit more of a roll, because you don't want this real thick. There. Now, once you get it rolled out, you brush with remaining butter with a pastry brush. And I'm going to brush this rectangle. Nice and evenly covered. There we go. And we're going to sprinkle it with a mixture of 3 tablespoons sugar and cinnamon. And I've already got a little dish here of cinnamon sugar made up. I always keep this if I want to have cinnamon sugar toast or just, you know, recipes like this. I have it made ahead of time. So I'm going to sprinkle this on here. You want it, the whole thing covered, right up to the edge. Some recipes will tell you, you know, leave a little bit of an edge. You know, if that's if you're using filling and you don't want it to ooze out. But this is different. This is just cinnamon sugar. You can put raisins in here too. I have done it with raisins, and then, but they're elephant ears. Elephants don't have raisins in their ears, so we're just going to do it this way. So you roll the dough up tightly, beginning at the narrow end. So this way. Roll it up real nice, almost like your jelly roll. Just give it a little pat each time you roll it, just to make sure it's nice and tight. There we go. There, and now you just want to pinch the edges to seal it, just like this. And I just give it a little roll like that, just to even it out and to make sure that that edge is sealed. And then you will cut into 4 equal pieces. Obviously this will be more than 4 equal pieces. Now what I like to use is my pizza wheel, pizza cutter, because it's good and sharp. So you just cut it right through. And you're supposed to get 4 because that's what the original recipe said. But, so I got, well, if I make that one a little bit smaller. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And one of them pretty much all the same size. We'll set that one aside. So, place cut side up on cookie sheet. I love how they say place cups cut side out, because once you cut them, both, like the first, the end is not, but both sides are cut side. So it doesn't really matter which way you put it. I give them a little flattening out, just push them down a little bit. Now these are thicker, so these are going to bake up a little bit bigger. They're going to spread out a little bit. I'm going to spread them out, and I'll take these 2 ends and I'll put that one on there. That'll be a small one, but that's all right. So now we want to bake these for 8 to 10 minutes until they're golden brown. So I'll come back here in 10 minutes and show you what they look like. Okay, so it's been about 12 minutes. These were a little bit thicker, so they did take a little bit longer to bake. But there is your elephant ears. Kind of like a cinnamon bun, only in the rounder and a little bit flatter. So that's what my boys are getting. Chocolate chip cookies and elephant ears. And I did make them some apple muffins in the break too. So there you go. Enjoy the video. Let me know what you think of it, if you're going to try it. If you like, there's anything you'd like me to try that I can bake for you to show you how to make it. If you've got any questions about baking or cooking, put them in the comments below and I'll be sure to get back to you. Everybody stay safe and have a good day.